Hello and welcome to Smile & Co. Coffee Chats. Today we have with us Alan from MediaNV. And of course, this is Morgan and my name is Courtney. And yeah, please just stay for the chat and just hear what's going on in this kind of side of the dental world and space. And we hope we have some great information for you today.
Alan, thank you for joining us today. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and just let us know a little bit about what MediaNV is about?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I am a digital marketing manager with MediaNV. We work with over 900 dental practices across North America, and we do specifically dental and oral health digital marketing for the practices that we work with, from website design to the SEO to any sort of paid ads, as well as some call tracking and consulting with the front desk. Our goal is to bring in more new patients for every single practice that we work with.
Awesome. So also, I guess, kind of a little bit about yourself, kind of how you got into this, and where are you based? So where's MediaNV based?
Yeah, so I'm based out of Calgary, little unicorn, born and raised actually here in Calgary. I've got a undergrad in marketing and consumer behavior and master's in marketing and consumer behavior, and have worked in a couple of different industries, and ended up with MediaNV here in the dental sector. Done a little bit with healthcare previously. And so now been here for coming up on 3 years with MediaNV, and just absolutely loving it and the practices and people that I get to work with.
Awesome. And so going back to the web development side of it, I know, there's a ton of web developers out there, and every clinic has their own version of their website, but how does MediaNV stand out? How is it different than most web developers for dental clinics?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the one thing that makes us stand out is we are very specific to the dental circle and in that industry. So really know the ins and outs of it, from the patient side of things, from the practice, what it means to run a practice, how to have a successful practice, and what that means in translating it online for them. So everything that we do is custom designed, custom coded without any templates that we use. So in doing so, that helps us really work with the practices on an individual level, personalize it, and tailor their websites, their marketing campaigns to the services and patients that they're looking for. So between the tracking mechanisms that we've got in place and the actual fundamental web design, we're able to monitor success, improve success, and track what the practice's ROI is for their marketing spend as well, which is something that other companies, especially in dental, just aren't able to do.
I know we can appreciate when there's any tech talk, yeah, right? That people can be like, okay, cool. And it can be over their heads a lot. Yeah. But it was really cool because obviously we've met and chatted with you a bunch of times. But this time we really got to see kind of the ins and outs, behind the scenes of what you guys really do, and just getting to see, what those ROIs, those that return on investment looks like, in terms of the data that comes back each month, right? Those reports, because as much as, you can say you're going to do something for somebody, it is really good to see the numbers, and people like to see, okay, this is actually going to convert in new patients for me. But something else that you guys do is front desk coaching, which is really cool because it's not like you really do have this all-inclusive service when it comes to new patients and being able to retain patients as well. So if you can just kind of share a little bit about that front end coaching, especially kind of the call stuff, because I think when we had heard you present recently, when you guys had mentioned that, you record calls, people were like, oh, the front end staff were a little bit up in arms, but there's obviously a reason to it. And when it comes down to converting patients and really doing your job, you guys really have a really cool way to look at that, where it's not an invasion of privacy, but it really has value to it. So if you can kind of share what front desk coaching that you guys have.
Yeah, first and foremost, the front desk and the call coaching, when we're tracking calls that come in, we're not trying to throw anyone under the bus. It's not about pointing out failures. It's more about looking for opportunities, and genuinely, told you this many times, genuinely believe that 99% of people are doing the best they can, and they have good intentions in mind. And so we're trying to build on those good intentions with their efforts to find new opportunities for the practice, as well as increased, little tips and tricks to increase the patient conversion rates. So for example, things like here in Canada, where every province has their fee guide. When a pricing related call comes in, usually with patients that are uninsured or their insurance isn't great, we want the front desk to be able to confirm with the patient that the pricing is in line with the fee guide if it's a practice that follows the fee guide, and what that means for the patient, so that it's not just the practice isn't just gouging them and making up numbers for the pricing, which unfortunately is kind of the common and overarching perception that patients have with dentistry still. So we've seen practices when we reinforce that fee guide, their conversion rate for new patients has gone from 40% to 60%, just for that one in particular. And the other thing it does is, again, not an invasion of privacy. We're focused and very hyper focused on new patients specifically. So when we understand that it's not a new patient call, that's not one that we're listening to or focusing on. It's not in our interests to do that, but we're looking for opportunities for the practice as a whole. So if it's a practice, for example, that might be open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and they're off Friday to Sunday because they don't think they have that demand, by listening to the phone calls and as well as the Google Analytics and the website analytics to see what the traffic is like, we can actually provide some data to help a practice decide whether or not it's worth it for them to open on that Friday. As a practice owner, if you've got the overhead is relatively similar for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but not making any revenue on that. So if you're opening that 5th day a week, it's essentially a potential for 25% of increased patient revenue, as well as more new patients every month for them. So it's not just about listening to the phone calls and the staff in particular. It's larger picture, helping the practice grow as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is the call coaching, especially, is coaching. It's the only way that anybody can get better is to better their skills, is to provide constructive feedback, and that goes for the practice as well as the employees. So the call coaching is not to invade anyone's privacy, but to just coach them to give better responses when someone is calling, or just to reiterate that they are giving good responses, and that the practice.
Yeah. And I can also expand on that and say that our goal a lot of the time actually highlights the quality and the care that the staff at the front desk are taking into place. And most of our calls actually, we see, again, most staff are amazing at what they do, and their knowledge of the practice and treatments and everything. So we also want to point that out to the practice as well, which again helps with staff retention in kind of this day and age of revolving doors across practices. So when the staff are doing a great job, which is a lot of the case, we want to let the practice owner or office manager, we want to let them know that as well. Because it's kind of a thankless job at times, and we want to make sure that when they're doing a good job, that they're getting, that they're the higher ups and the owners and the office managers are understanding the work that they're doing to help the practice grow and succeed.
Yeah, keeps that positive culture going.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what areas do you serve? So we love that, because when you say dentistry, you really do. You're doing this website, you're developing it, you're kind of looking at all the sides of it, right? You really do know, you guys go with this service and this service and this service around it, because dentistry is definitely your jam. But so what areas, locations do you serve?
Yeah, we're based out of Calgary. I don't remember if I actually mentioned that and answered your question before, but based out of Calgary. But we've got coming up on 1,000 practices across North America. So basically, every province in the country except for Quebec, and then anywhere in the U.S. as well. So we can serve all of those areas, and we do specialists as well. So endo, perio, ortho. PDO, all of those we're able to help service as well. And again, with the interest of getting new patients for them.
Yep, amazing.
And then I think this is maybe our last question. If there's any expert advice that you could share with clinic owners, what would it be?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is understanding that when it's done right, marketing and digital marketing in particular can be a super valuable asset and investment for growing a practice. When it's not done right, then it is easy to see it just as an expense, and that's because there's so much ambiguity in where that's going. So when we'll send out reports that have the specific number of new patients that are going to the practice and booking appointments into the chair. When you have those numbers, then you can make better decisions and understand what that ROI is for it. And in a little bit more of a technical sense as well, that just because you've got the flashiest, best looking websites on the front end, if it's not developed properly on the back end and communicating with search engines and showing up for those new patient searches, then it really is just a bit of a liability and a cost for you to host it and maintain it. And so we kind of put those two things together so that there's more traffic coming to the website with new patients in particular that are looking for the practice, and with the right metrics, reporting, and tracking in place. And then you can really see it as a long-term investment and make better business decisions going forward.
Yeah, brilliant.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all the questions for you today, except for this one last one. How do people get a hold of you if they want to use MediaNV?
Yeah, so my email is Alan at medianv.com, MEDIA, letter N is in Nancy, letter V is in Victor.com. Our website is medianv.com as well. So you can kind of scroll through there, but email, I'll be super responsive with that. And so if there's anyone reaching out and interested in more information or anything in how we work with practices, just general questions about marketing, digital marketing in general, always happy to respond and have a chat with them.
Yeah, amazing. We have a code for you too if you reach out to us personally first.
That's right.
Receive like discounts off of their services, but always, yeah, feel free to reach out to them. And yeah, it's just such a cool way because, like, obviously, we know staffing very well, and you just do staffing from you get to deal with the dental staff from a different side, because you're not just the web and the development, but you also deal directly with the staff and you care about the results that they're receiving. So it really is just like such a cool thing, and just like an awesome relationship that we've built with you too, in the dental industry. And yeah, if you're looking for us, you can find us at smileandcompany.com. There's an underscore in it, but it's just only for Smile & Co. or Smile & Company. You'll find us because we're an app for hiring, and there's some involvement of services within Smile & Company as well. So always reach out to us. Follow us on Instagram at smile-and-company. And yeah, we hope that if you need either of us for services, that that we're here for you. And stay tuned for our next episode of Smile & Co. Coffee Chats.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Always a pleasure.
Yeah. Cheers.